Hey, welcome back everyone, Toyshes here, and I'm back yet again to serve up another TMNT Super 7 Ultimates episode, and thank you to my friends over at Super 7 for sending over these early samples to give you guys this advanced look. We got 5 figures in old Wave 6, we just took a look at Wave 5. Both of these should be shipping out relatively soon, but if you want to put links down in the description below for Entertainment Earth. But we have 5 figures in this wave. The first one, the Mouser pack. You get 5 Mousers. This one is more along the lines of an army builder set, if you're into that kind of thing. And I got to tell you, the write-ups for these 5 figures are quite special. I really like this, right? That's very cool. I've already talked about the packaging enough. It's a lot of packaging. But for these, like Scratch the Cat right here, these are pretty filled up boxes. I got to give it to them. Like, I was like, wow, there's a lot to talk about. So this video is going to be a little bit on the long side. So just sit back. Yeah, grab the coffee. It's all coming up. Slash, my favorite TMNT character next to Wingnut and Screwloose, of course. But Slash and all his different iterations. Really looking forward to checking out this figure, right? That was a must-have for me. And then one of my favorite alternate looks, I totally remember this guy from back in the day. Totally don't remember grabbing him, but maybe bits and pieces here and there. But you have a Sewer Surfer Mikey, which, I mean, come on, that's just awesome. He's the Wet and Wild Wave Riding Reptile. Again, all the alliterations and everything in these, it's a fun read up. Pause it if you can. And then, of course, the final figure is Ace Duck. Good old Ace Duck. Is he still stump wrestling? Huh? Who knows? He's got a little bit of a different bio for different origin story for the Playmates Toys version of Ace Duck. But still, I mean, it's pretty cool. So this is going to be fun. We got a lot to talk about. Sit back, relax, grab yourself a nice hot cup of coffee. This is an early look at the brand new TMNT Ultimates Wave 6 by Super 7. And just before we get started, I want to talk about Wave 5. It brings me no pleasure to talk about how all these are loose, and then you see everybody going, oh man, those are terrible. I can't believe they did that. Well, here's what I want to bring to this video of all the Super 7 TMNT videos that I do. It's honesty. It's pointing out things that I think of for, well, the price point, just in general. Higher price point, you're going to be held to a higher standard. It's just how it is. So complete honesty, everything else. So rest assured, we're going to have a good time today. So first and foremost, you have the Mousers. Mousers 5-pack. And this is going to be one of those packs, I'll just tell you right off the bat. If you've already got the Mouser for when you got Baxter Stockman, if you have that figure, then you're pretty much set. It's the same exact Mouser. However, there's a lot of fun stuff in this box, especially for army building and whatnot. Now, I will tell you this, that you do get a little turtle. He's a little slug of a turtle, and then you get another little turtle. So you got 2 turtles mixed with the one that came with splinters. You got 3. I wish there was one more turtle. You know what I mean? You got the ooze canister. This I actually really like. It's a broken ooze canister. It's done nice paint. The pizza slice, which, of course, every Ninja Turtle figure should come with a pizza slice. Turtles themselves. But I like the sheen that you got on it. It's nice and oily. See that right there? That's pretty cool. Then you got 2 Raphael size. These are kind of like, thanks for throwing them in the box. Yeah. The coolest accessory by far is the Mouser's controller. It's got a little battery compartment on the back. Like you put a little mini screwdriver and all that. That's cool. This is my favorite accessory out of the box because I'll show you Baxter Stockman can hold it. And then you have, well, I'm assuming this is Splinter, right? Little Ninja Rat. And I'm not mistaken, I feel like this is artwork on the old Ninja Turtle packaging at some point. The Mousers themselves. If you already have, like I said, the Mouser that came with Baxter Stockman, there's not a whole lot of new as far as the standard Mousers go. The head, the mouth, the legs move. There's not a whole lot of articulation, but it does enough for the Mouser. I do wish that the neck moved itself. That way you can lower it without touching the legs, right? But you get it in that stance, it actually holds pretty dang steady. So I dig it. Got good paint for what paint is there. The battle damaged mousers are the more fun aspects. It's something new. You can see all the slash marks. I like the missing eye. For the most part, it fits best, we'll say, with Raphael's size and everything else. I like just the general idea that it's a smashed up, bashed up mouser. However, mouser parts and pieces would have been cool, or that you could maybe take this mouser apart. If you can, I couldn't get mine. But the fun part is throwing all the weapons, like Raphael's size, which I'm sure why they included these, right? You can use all the different turtles' weapons, but Raphael's size, I think, work the best. I really like that, thrown right into his nose. Now, the only difference between the mouser that came with Baxter Stockman and then these new versions is a matter of paint. A little bit darker red right there in the main eyepiece. It's a little bit different of a plastic color, right? A little bit lighter blue this time around. Metallic on the original. That's it. It's a matter of paint. Other than that, it's pretty much the exact same mouser. But like I said, when you want an army build, you get this pack. You got all the turtles, Baxter Stockman. This is a way to world build and really build up a scene, take some nice photos. So in that sense, it's definitely a cool set. I'll give it to them. But it's not necessarily, like I said, a set that you absolutely need. This would be maybe you wait for a clearance out of all of them, right? There's 5 to talk about here. But if you do get it, there's a lot of fun stuff in it. Could they have had maybe more break apart mousers? I think that would have been ideal. Maybe some extra accessories here and there, but you are getting 5 figures. But for the most part, yeah, it does make for some awesome photography. Now, next up, of course, with Wave 5, we saw the Sewer Samurai Leonardo, and now we got Sewer Surfin Mikey. And this one, like I said, I don't really remember getting this original figure as a kid. I want to say it was a Christmas gift, right? You walk downstairs in the morning, oh man, open up the package, Sewer Surfin Mikey, along with a few others, right? I think that's what I attribute it to. But let's talk about this guy. So he does come with the weapons tree, the weapons rack. I like starting with like Wave 4, Wave 5, they're getting a lot more crazy, a lot more like fun with the designs. I still don't like them. These weapon trees are huge, by the way. I would say include other accessories, ditch these, right? That's just my opinion. The extra hands are cool. I do wish with all the hands that you get, maybe you got like a thumbs up, some more like Sewer Surfing type hands. Remember these? These are like the original Playmates offerings, the standard orange plastic pieces. They're okay, a little frisbee throwing star. You got a pair of sunglasses, which are very cool. I give it to them. That's pretty darn cool, especially with the tongue out head portrait. They do affix nice to the face. They stay on there. So that's a fun little additive right there. There's not a whole lot of paint on these things, but you get the idea. For the most part, they do the trick. And then you have this. This is fun. This goes with the whole surfing motif. You have the Michelangelo's nunchucks. They have kelp and seaweed and barnacles and starfish all over them. They're very gummy. Very, very gummy. Not just the chain. Everything is gummy. And they don't really behave like nunchucks. They don't look bad either, I will say. They're fun. But it's kind of one of those things where I wish they were just like the barnacles and the kelp are wrapped around the actual handheld pieces, and then it maybe had a chain, you know what I mean? So that's just something. For these, it was kind of funny. I was like, what are these? Like pucks? And then I go, oh wait, it's turtle wax. Duh, right? So you got 3 colors, 3 different looks for them. You get the crab. Remember the original crab? I don't have my crab anymore. This is, again, one of those times where I'm going to say I wish the accessories were painted just a little bit more. And then you have this extra head portrait from Michelangelo, and it's nicely painted, well done. Kind of reminds me of around, what was it, the 2003, 2002, 2004 Ninja Turtles, that animated series, just in the faces and the Playmates Toys head sculpts. The Cowabunga surfboard is back, baby. That is cool. It's giant this time. It's like an actual surfboard. It's got pegs on it, and he's got the attachment that goes on your arm or your leg, which is really cool. It just opens and pegs back together. That's a nice touch. And all my surfing days, right? You know how that goes. You fly off your board and you pull it right back. So that's pretty darn cool. It's a nice string, nice long enough string. So I dig that. And then you got Michelangelo, the sewer surfing dude. They went to Paint Town on this thing because those old Playmates toys, they have so many details. Like the octopus, he's painted. He's gray and blue now. And then you got, the little eel right here that's swimming across its leg. You got the crabs and the barnacles. It's really nice to see everything is painted and painted well. The two Shark brothers, read the back of the bio. I didn't know about that. You got, again, seaweed and starfish and his wetsuit. And it's just such a fun 80s, early 90s figure brought back to life. And the head portrait really makes it. Seeing these, you go, okay, you got one of them is like he's having fun, but the tongue out is the epitome of Michelangelo, especially with the whole surfing, right? Official Turtle Co. Sweatsuits. The articulation is pretty solid. This is what I was going like, oh man, with Wave 5, remember that? With all the looseness. I can honestly tell you, everything is tight. So I want to say that it's fixed. And just as a heads up, the belt isn't removable, right? I tried to look at it. The belt is cool for the most part. I wish it did have a little bit more paint. It does have weapon storage, although with the gumminess of it, they kind of fit. You kind of have to work with it. He's got the beer cans, right, from the original toy or whatever can. He's soda, of course, right? Wink, wink. But I just wish that had a little bit more paint, especially the dolphin on the belt, right? A little bit something here and there. The legs, talking about the articulation, they're not loose. I can honestly tell you, there's no looseness to this guy. There's no looseness in the joints. There's no looseness in the legs. He stands beautifully. They did it. Home run. So that is honestly what I was looking for with this new wave of figures, to correct the looseness. It's taken 6 waves because they've had looseness the whole go around, but this new Surfin Mikey, no loose. And you can set your watch to that. Now, in terms of scale, if you have some of the other Turtle Bros, it fits in nicely, and plus, you can swap out the heads. You can add glasses. That's cool. It's an alternate head fiesta for old Michelangelo. You can swaps all the heads, put the old one on the new one on the old one. You get the idea, right? But in either case, that's really cool that you can change the heads out between the different turtle figures, and that, again, the tongue out is the epitome of Michelangelo. And like I said, with Wave 5, you have the recent Sewer Samurai Leonardo, you got the Sewer Surfin' Mikey, so it's nice to see different iterations of the turtles. Fan favorite ones. So we have the Space Cadet Raph coming, we have Punker Donatello. These are fun. These are nice, fun iterations that have stuck with the fans, with me, right? I know all these iterations, so that's definitely fun. So looking forward to that. And I'm really happy to say that they've improved upon so many things, and Sewer Surfin' Mikey is totally tubular. And of course, the next figure will be Ace Duck. Now, this particular figure has a little bit of different bio than what I'm used to for Ace Duck. Primary knowledge, primarily with Ace Duck in general, from me, came from the original Playmates version of Ace Duck, but then the story behind him was that, from the Archie comics, he was a big souped-up, muscular wrestler from Stump's Intergalactic Wrestling. For this new Super 7 version, he comes with a weapons tree. You can see all the different weapons that he has, and then some added bonus of, let's say, landing gear, wheels. Cool, it's something different, but as I say over and over, leave the weapons trees. We're good at this point. You get a ton of extra hands for Ace Duck. I like what they did with the paint, and if you look closely, the back of the hands have some feathering to it, which is kind of nice to see. It's totally different. It works. So you got yellow amidst a nice wash to it. Brings out the coloring of Ace Duck. He does come with a Tommy gun. Painted beautifully. Totally dig it. What better weapon than a Tommy gun for an ace pilot like that? Look at how way that this thing displays. This is a fun figure. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I kept the hand on there because, yes, he can hold the trigger. He holds the gun nicely. Everything's there you'd expect. He does come with a pistol. I would say to really match the Tommy gun. I wish he had more like a Luger, right? Something like that, more of a World War II gun. But hey, it works, and he holds it nicely, and the paint is there for what's there. A little bit of brown on the handle, right? Now, he does have his classic pilot's hat. You can see it's kind of molded inside for the top of his head, so it does stay nicely, and yeah, you can get him saluting and all that, but not a lot to it, but for what's there, it's perfect. It's exactly the hat. You got the goggles. These are a bit of a gummier goggle, which this works, especially when getting around a Duck's head, or maybe you want to use it on a different character, right? And you get the egg grenades. If there ever was a Ninja Turtle weapon, right, the egg grenade, nice little crack down the middle, that's pretty cool. You get 6 of these things. They're painted nicely, they look nice, and then you get the classic belt. These are all things that came with the original figure, but you can see that you can put 4 of them in the belt loops, and they stay nice, so you can put it around him, he can hold it, you get my drift. And you can, of course, adjust the belt accordingly. He does come with an alternate jacket. This is the jacket that doesn't have the porthole for the wings, right? And also, I'm going to tell you, the arms do not come off. Put this on your figure like you would a jacket on an action figure, right? Arms back. This is my favorite accessory of Ace Ducks. It is an alternate head sculpt. He has this cigar. That is cool that they left that in there. That is elevating this from being like, okay, we were kids when we had this, we're redoing the figures, and now we have this more adult-oriented one, right? That's pretty cool. He does have the extra wings. You can pop these on, leave them off. The wings are okay. I think, for the most part, the sculpt of the paint, that's totally there. It's got a little bit of articulation. How they fix, they're pretty sturdy when you get them in there. How long they will last, how long they'll stay up is anyone's guess. Kind of wish that the peg to insert them into his back was just a little bit more sturdy. Didn't make you feel like that was going to go south. So my advice, go easy on the wings. Ace Duck himself. I didn't think I was going to like this figure as much as I do. This is a really fun. He has so many swaps, right? You could do a lot of different looks for this guy. He just has a jacket over a feathered sort of big bird kind of look, right? That's kind of what he is. Now on the back side, you can see this is the jacket that has the portholes in it to put the wings. And I love how it's sculpted where he's kind of busting through the jacket, or you can just have standard without the wings. Goes either way. You can do whatever you want. He's got these back tail feathers. The tail feathers, one, it's a nice addition, totally different. You can see his little tail, and that's from the original figure. It's kind of sticking out. I wish it was a little bit more accented because it kind of has the end of Ace Ventura going on a little bit, right? He's kind of got like a diapery butt from the back. I'm nitpicking, but it just kind of looks funky, right? You know what I mean? The tail feathers are cool, and you can leave them on, leave them off. I like that they gave you that option. Simply just kind of lift up his jacket right there, and you can pop those in, and it just pegs in, right? Like I said, put them in, put them out. Maybe he wants to sit, leave them out. On the original figure, they were a part of the wings, right? Because the wings were kind of like one piece that moved. The articulation is pretty solid. You get a nice head rotation out of him. The jackets, the arms, biceps, single jointed elbows, the wrists rock. They'll spin at the elbow. He's got the waist, the legs. Drum roll, right? No looseness in the legs. Can you believe that? That is so cool. I'm happy to say that because I don't want to knock figures, but you got to be honest when you talk about these videos, and it helps for consumers to buy these things, and you don't want to get a faulty product. But yeah, the legs are sturdy. Give it to him all day. He's got single jointed knees. They rock. And my favorite part are his feet. He's got these cool duck feet, and it works. He's got peg holes on the bottom. But the feet, not to be like, oh man, the feet. They're just cool. He's got some really creepy, weird feet, and it totally works for me for a duck mutant or a transmuted Ace pilot into a duck mutant. Whatever, right? In terms of the scalature for Ace Duck, he is a little bit on the smaller side, which I kind of like that. He's of the smallest Super 7 TMNT Ultimates, and you can see him here with other mutants and such, but I'll tell you, that, this is where you kind of get to have some fun with the Archieverse a little bit. Stump Intergalactic Wrestling, Leatherhead versus Ace Duck, this Friday at 8 p.m. But I'll tell you, all day, I had a lot more fun than I thought I was going to have with Ace Duck. but it's the cigar head, the wings, put him in a flight stand, give him the Tommy gun. It's a fun figure. They did a great job. Now, this is what I was really looking for when Super 7 announced that they were doing TMNT Ultimates. And with Scratch the Cat, a lot of collectors, including myself, get to have some fun now with a figure that's way too expensive, and it might be a glaring omission from your collection. Now, back in the day, totally was at Target. I totally remember this. Target was having a sale, and I had a whole bunch of Ninja Turtles, and he did one of those the kids thing, and you go like, I just want to look at them. You're expecting, okay, parents will get you a few. Parents go, okay, you can get two. And I passed on Scratch the Cat. Not only that, but I also passed on Monty Moose. I still have that. I have the Moose, but I never got Scratch the Cat. So I always laugh about that. And people go, oh, yeah, it's worth a fortune. I'm like, yeah, I remember that. Because I remember talking about it. My mom going like, you really want like a weird like jail cat? You know what I mean? Like a prison cat or something like that? And I was like, no, of course not. Well, had I known, right? So that's my little Scratch the Cat story. But like I said, it's fun to have Scratch now on my shelf. Now, he does have the weapons tree. Again, these weapons trees are enormous this time around. They're huge. It's a lot of plastic. You give us some alternate stuff. I'm just saying, it's functional stuff. You get a lot of extra hands for Scratch. They're all painted nicely. Nice shading to them. Browns amidst a lighter kind of like skin tone almost. Nice painted fingernails, open hands, weapon holding hands, fisted hands. You get the idea. You get a piece of cake, or is it? It's actually a cake gun. Totally twisted, totally Playmates, painted well. He holds it nicely. Finger goes into the trigger, all that kind of stuff. So it does work well. I'm glad they improved upon the weapons. You got candles sticking out, falling over. It's totally wackadoo. I love it. You got the hammer and you have the file. And interesting tone of blue for these weapons. I think it works. It's totally that wackadoo Playmates style. He holds the hammer nicely. I would say with the hands given, the file with the handle, it's a little bit too small for the hands. So more of a tighter gripped hand would have been nice. But overall, nice paint. Just wish the file had a little bit more to it. You do get a dead fish, a little bit of paint on the eye. He holds that pretty well, right? You expect the cats to have a dead fish. Kind of like Looney Tunes, right? Every cat back in the day, every cartoon cat always had to deal with a dead fish to it. You got the slug figure Jailbird. Mostly, when they give you these slug figures, they got a little bit of articulation. He doesn't have any. He's just a shifty-eyed character that's like his buddy. He's like flipping a coin, right? So that's cool. Or you can have Tom and Jerry kind of thing with a bird and a cat, or he's going to beat him to death with a hammer. I don't know. Anyways, maybe he's turned Stoolie on him in the prison, right? And you got this bag of money. Classic bag of money. It's got the big green dollar sign, but I love the back of it because all the money is spilling out. You got rings. Nicely sculpted. Nice paint, right? For the gold and everything else. I dig that. That's a lot of fun. So you can put that on the ground. But I will tell you this. Instead of the weapons tree, I think I would have preferred maybe one or two extra bags of money, ones with it's not falling out. You could position it in a photo where it kind of looks like, yeah, he's fine. But in other sense, yeah, the money's falling out. So it's fun. I just wish he had extra bags of money. That would have been kind of cool. But I like how it's torn, it stays upright. It's a fun accessory. That's pretty cool. The alternate head is a lot of fun. This is where you could tell Super 7 was really starting to get into this. A lot of expression going on here, you know what I mean? Especially in the terms of the jail. He's sneaking around. He's tiptoeing. He's trying to escape jail. So that head portrait really does do a lot. And Scratch the Cat, again, finally, to say that I have a version of Scratch the Cat. But, with the whole Ninja Turtle, the new TMNT Ultimate, it's nice. Got a nice little string with a nail file around his neck. That's a nice little touch. It's the old way of thinking about jail and escaping from jail, and that's like the classic cartoon nature. Nice black and white. Everything is painted nicely, nice and crisp. 0009 or his inmate number. Everything is tattered and torn, scratch marks. Now, on the legs, you got two different versions, right? You got a booted and you got his regular animal leg. Then you have the weight, right? The old ball and chain. This is, I think of this two ways. Like, one, it's incredibly cumbersome. It's heavy. Two, it's kind of funny because, yes, if you have one of the open hands, you can have him holding it, which is totally cool. But the chain, every time you want to move the figure, the chain is going to go with you. I would have preferred a little bit more paint on the lock just to kind of break it up a little bit, right? It just kind of becomes all one solid piece. The chain can come off, but you have to do it yourself. You kind of have to pull apart the metal right there. You ever work with chains? I did it recently with the Necron. You get the idea. It's not that big a deal. It's just kind of funny and cumbersome at the same time. You got some articulation in the tail. It kind of just swooshes his back. All tattered, right? All the fur is hanging out. So really, you could tell that they had some fun with this sculpt in bringing the original Scratch figure to life. Head articulation is what you'd expect. Left, down, right, ball joint. The arms are a little bit stuck. It's actually nicer to say stuck than loose with a Super 7 figure. Again, with NECA and 2, with all the Ninja Turtle stuff. You got some nice upper diaphragm. The legs, get this, no looseness. Check that out. Different articulation scheme for the legs, of course. One's more the animal, one's more the boot. Check it out. No loose. God, I'm so happy to say that. Because after Wave 5, I was like, oh man, this is cumbersome at this point. But yeah, I want to say that the legs on Scratch are almost like a ratcheted kind of thing. It's kind of cool. It actually works. But yeah, they stay nice and taut. You can get them all the different positions. He does have single jointed knees. Not so much on that side. This side, you get a little bit more rotation. And the haunches, too, of the leg. The boot will rotate. But yeah, overall, I'll give it to him. Again, see, this is honestly a solid Wave so far. It's a really cool Scratch. The cat. And when you have him with other Animalia, right, within the universe of Ninja Turtles, he's more of a medium-sized figure, around a little bit taller than the Turtles, more around the heftiness of Ray Fillet, a little bit shorter than Slash, of course, a lot taller than Ace Duck. Ace Duck, of course, being the smallest, and, oh yeah, speaking of Slash, well, he's my favorite of the bunch, right? So finally brings us to our fifth and final figure of Wave 6, Slash. Totally remember getting Slash. Slash has always been one of my favorites. Every iteration, video game, especially Archie Comics, especially the Playmates toy, the original one. And now you have this Slash. Beautifully brought to life. This is a lot of fun. Humongous weaponry. The biggest weaponry out of every figure. It's eye-catching. It's got some electric pink to it. Electric Slash pink, right? All the different weapons amidst a couple pieces of plywood strung together. Now you do get his classic mace. Again, nicely painted. It's got all the little spikes are painted. It holds it nice. Got some black paints. They really elevated. This is what I've been talking about with the Super 7 TMNT Ultimates. It's taking what existed before and going to town with it, right? Really having some fun. Like with his sword, you got the little cross piece at the top. It's a different kind of janky, crooked sword. It works for Slash. And nice black, nice silver to it. You do get a little bit of weapon storage on the back of his belt. It varies on what you can put in there, but just go easy when you do install them. Then you have his knife with the big jagged spikes on it. That's a lot of fun. He holds all his weapons beautifully. No qualms whatsoever. And the electric pink really does bring it to life. You got the little mini Sai, the crooked Sai. He's kind of got all the weapons of the 4 Ninja Turtles, but like in a twisted sense, which is the epitome of Slash, right? He's kind of like the 5th evil Ninja Turtle. And then you got these really cool spike grenades. Those are done nicely. Little pin right there. Nice, weird, odd color green to them. You have 2 forms of throwing stars. So you got these ones right here, which are kind of cool because they can affix to his belt, just like the original Playmates figure. If you look closely, they're sculpted in. You got a regular Ninja Star you can put on his belt as well. And then you have like the twisted version of Michelangelo's nunchucks. And again, if you want to fudge it in there, you can put it in the weapon storage belt, although I wouldn't force it too much. They don't really bend, right? Just go easy on those. And then you got a multitude of Slash hands. And I'll tell you this, for as many hands as you get, they're cool. You got all kinds of weapon holding and various ways to kind of rock. A few of them are different. But for the paint, if you see the purple bandage that goes around that keeps his blades intact, for the fist it works because you can't see inside the hand, but they didn't paint within the hand. So the purple is kind of missing there. That's one little nitpick. The extra head portrait is fantastic. It's a little Archie-ish, right? It's almost the head that he kind of gives in that final issue. If you know, I don't want to spoil anything. It's nicely painted, nicely done. It's very cool. Very happy with this extra head portrait, and Slash himself is no exception. Man, oh man, they really went to town on this guy. He's a baseball brick of a figure. Great color to him, great smile, the teeth, lots of fun paint. The colors of Slash, the yellows, the greens, the purples, everything works with this guy. All his little armor plates that fit on his black bandages, his wraps, his elbow pads, his wrists. You know what I mean? The belt is really cool. The skulls, and you got all the spikes and toes, his electric yellow toenails, peg holes on the bottom of his feet. You can hear the excitement, the fun in my voice, right? I'm having fun with this guy because he's a favorite character of mine. The belt is cool, just like the original, right? Purple to black, a little bit of weapon storage in the back, which I've showed you previously. Wish it had a little bit more paint to kind of accentuate what he's got going on. All the spikes all over his shell, well painted, yellow all over his tail, right? It's a little bit of articulation in the tail. That's nice to see. A Ninja Turtle with a tail, just like the old school ones, but Slash is really the only one that kind of kept it. The articulation in the head is fun. He's more hunched, so the neck kind of gets a little bit more movement, a little more fun expression out of him. The arms, it's a home run for all 5 figures. Well, the Mousers kind of a given, but there's no looseness to these guys. They have really fixed this up. The legs are great. It holds up his massive, bulky body, right? So that's pretty cool to see. But again, in talking about these and giving guys these early looks, I don't want to say, oh man, it's loose, it doesn't stand. There's no fun. We're supposed to be having fun with these figures. It's a design choice. It's totally on Super 7. It's on the factories when that happens. But it's nice to see that they have course corrected, right? Even down to the legs, you can kind of see that you get a lot of movement. This part of the shell is a little bit gummy, so you can work with it and move his legs around, get him into some cool poses, single jointed knees, and of course the feet will rock. But as a fan favorite character, Slash rocks. And he is a bigger, chunkier figure, but on the shorter, squattier side. So he's just a little bit taller than the Turtles, shorter than Shredder. He's the exact proportions that I think about with Slash. And if you want to pair this Slash up with Krang, if you're a fan of the Archie comics, well, you know how that's going to go, right? He's just looking for his palm tree. He wants to get back to Palmadice. But that's the other fun part, and this is what I used to do with my Playmates figures, is that I would have the Mutanimals. Now again, they never made Jaguar or Dreadmon, but you had Leatherhead, Mondo Gecko, Ray Fillet, and Slash, and that was fun. So if you guys, Super 7, want to make Wingnut and Screwloose, yeah, I'm totally down, because I love those characters. These are very fun to put all together. Now, in looking at what's come before to what we're talking about now, this is exactly what I wanted to see for Super 7. A lot of, let's say, waves 1 through 5, there are elements to that where they've really gone to town, really put forth all the different accentuated pieces that we got with the original Playmates figures. But I can safely say Wave 6 really does that all and more. They really had some fun with taking what's existed, respecting it, and then going, we're going to go on overdrive and do this right? So that's really cool to see. And the same thing with Sewer Surfin' Mikey. Mikey was very plain, right? Had a lot of detail, a lot of sculpt to it, all the different animals, the sunglasses, everything was there. I don't have that sticker anymore on the front of him, but all the different paint apps, everything is now brought to life. They've put so much paint, brought so much detail, added some weapons storage, maybe moved around some things, but it's all there and then some. Ace Duck, prime example. Taking a basic duck pilot, but then now giving him a Tommy gun and different alternate looks, put that cigar in his mouth. Brings a whole new depth to the character. Makes it more of that adult collector line. And that's why, honestly, Ace Duck is one of my favorites out of this line. And who would have thunk it, right? And with the Mousers all stay true to what I said. It was more like an army builder set. There's some fun to be had. Do you necessarily need it? Not really. Could they have you maybe put some stickers or maybe some decal, something to put on the mousers? That would have been kind of fun, right? The wind-up feature, we know they're not going to go that route anymore. And to be honest with you, my mousers don't really work. I totally thought they did, right? It's kind of a bummer. I was like, this whole time I was like, oh yeah, they still work. No. I tried. So that is going to wrap it up for my look at the brand new Wave 6 of Super 7's TMNT Ultimates. And thank you again to Super 7 for sending these over to give you guys this early advance look. And if you did pre-order these, if you're looking forward to them, they should be shipping out soon. But again, I'm happy to say across the board, it's such an improvement to what we've seen from all of Waves 1 through 5. There's no looseness in mine. The paint is solid. They've elevated what's come before and really made it their own, and I really appreciate that more than anything. So, you've heard my thoughts. Now I'm curious to know yours. Comment below, let me know. Let's talk everything TMNT Ultimates Wave 6. And I'm going to leave you guys with that. As always, drink some great coffee, eat some great food, but most importantly, remember, what's your favorite figure for this new wave? Did you have the older Playmates version? And if there's a story, let me know about it. And when you do, let me know what you found. I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.
Ha 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 ha!